Hello, word nerds, and happy Sunday, and welcome to our movie chat. And today we are talking about the Netflix movie, The Willoughbys. So I'm super excited. This is actually my idea. I suggested this movie. So I'm really excited because I personally love the movie. So I guess to start off, everyone should give their ratings. So I'll go first since mine should probably be obvious. I give it 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this movie. How about you, Megan?
Yeah, I think I'm 5 stars too. It was super cute, super fun. I watched it with my 3-year-old, and he thought it was very cool. And yeah, I thought the animation style was so pretty. It was great. I think we'll talk about all of it, I'm sure.
How about you, Erin?
I was leaning initially towards 4 because like the second half of the movie I didn't love as much as the first half, but I think I'm still gonna do 5 because the cat narrator just like nailed it for me. That's my favorite part of the whole thing.
All right, how about you, Emma?
I think probably like 4.5 and be like wild and do the different romance. I really enjoyed it. But like I do like kind of like some of the ending stuff. Like there was some points that just was like a little too cheesy for me. Like Alessia Cara singing. Like this child is like Alessia Cara's voice singing. It's just like,
I thought that was hilarious. I was all in.
My husband, the first time she was singing, like looking out the window, he was like, "Oh, cool! She was born with auto-tune."
Woo!
Otherwise, yeah, really enjoyed
Burn
it.
on her.
All right, what about you, Kelly?
I was gonna go with 4.5 as well, so it was not quite as wild as she thought. But for me, it was kind of the like, I don't know, I call it like a Simpsons episode effect of like where we start at the beginning is not at all where we're going by the next scene. Like you just never really knew what the overall plot was, but it was still enjoyable. It just for me felt like it could have been a little bit more cohesive, but otherwise fantastic.
I do remember because we like Googled it when Bez told us about the movie, and I was like, these are not the faces I remember seeing when I Googled it. Is this a prologue? And then it took me a bit to be like, oh no, this is the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely. It's funny that Erin said like the second half was rougher for her because I felt like like the beginning, similar to Kelly, I'd totally forgotten about that. How like, it kind of like felt like it was like 4 different stories. It like took a while for it to like figure out what direction it was taking.
Yeah. I think because like the tone of the first part of it was something that I fell deeply in love with, like the terrible parents. They're so
it was very Erin.
They're so in love, but it's terrible.
It was very like Lemony Snicket.
Yes, and it's such like a the narration is very Lemony Snicket. He's like this dry, sarcastic British cat narrating it, and then we had a moment sort of halfway through that was with the candy coming in that was very like flowers and rainbows, and I was like, what's a rocket ship of candy? And I'm like,
a dirigible.
A dirigible made of candy. And I was like, not where I expected this to go, but okay.
And Griswold was going to give it 4 stars, but is now worried about disappointing us, which you can never do.
You could literally.
We are obviously wrong.
I don't know about that.
The like 3 of y'all who are watching right now are the 3 who are always here.
You are our
not
favorite. You can do no wrong in our eyes.
Yeah. I liked all the. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, I'm going around in my head of like, okay, so at first the plot was we got the baby in a box. Now we're finding a home for the baby. Now we're trying to like not murder our parents, but we're going to murder our parents. And then, oh no, there's a nanny. And it's just like,
now we're trying to stop our house from being sold. Now we're trying to scare up it. Yeah, it was a lot of different stories.
I love that.
I love it. Yeah, I was gonna say that's like my favorite thing is like how just kind of disjointed the pacing feels almost. I love it.
I think the like
childhood.
Yeah, exactly. It is a kids movie like at the end of the day, so like it's very entertaining.
And I think that's why I'm like very forgiving with my rating too. Is I'm like as a kid I would have just been like, oh, this is super fun. I love it.
Exactly.
You know, it's like easier as an adult to be critical. But I do think like now that I'm thinking about it, kind of almost choppiness of the plot, I think would have made this a really good limited series. Because like each episode could have like focused on one of those things.
Totally.
Because I think as like just an hour and a half movie, it was a little like
Yeah.
weird to do it.
We're reading the book for book club / script club. I wonder if it's almost episodic in the chapters.
I got the audiobook. I haven't started listening to it yet. It's a 3-hour audiobook, y'all. That's 1 hour on triple speed.
Is it a book
You can see if
series
my
or is
library
it
has
just
it.
it's just one book?
It's just one. I think it's a standalone.
Okay. Yeah, there were a few, in spite of the disjointedness, there were a few parts that I was like, hands down, my favorite parts were when everything was going down and then the nanny gets there and like everything has been taken so like the parents are horrible, the kid is in the coal bin, like it's a very like dark black sense of humor, and then the nanny gets there and is like the only one that reacts appropriately to the things that are going on, and I'm like, I loved that she was like, wait, he puts you in the what?
I know. She says something like, what in the child abuse?
Yeah. She says, back up the abuse caboose for a second here.
The nanny is my favorite character of all time. Like,
I really love her.
I love her so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite line in the entire movie is they're busting out of this like orphan care place. Linda has him, Tim is that his name? Has Tim in the car. And they're doing this wild chase, and it cuts to these agents. And one of them goes, it's really good to see Linda taking initiative.
Yes.
Yeah, there are really a lot of good moments like that.
Cackled.
Also, I was like,
sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just the agents reminded me at one point when like they go and it's like the Department of Orphan Services or whatever. I was like, how many orphans does the city have to have an entire department?
I liked how like in your face all the rainbows and bright colors and Candy Factory were. I felt like it was like every bit as ridiculous as their parents were and everything. It was just like the flip side of that coin, and so it felt very like, of course this would also exist in this world where these terrible things happen.
I also like that they did like up on the elves, basically. They did go full darkness because it was like, we're going to try to kill our parents. Haha, it never works. And then one of the best parts was when the parents were like, looked like they were about to embrace them. And then they were like, get out of our way. And I was like, aha, consistency. And then the dirigible crashed and they were like, did they survive that? No. I was like, oh, dang, they did kill them.
Yeah, because for a second at that part where they're on the big old mountain, I was like, are they going to really make us like try to forgive these parents?
Yeah.
I don't think I can go there with you.
No.
Yeah, I really appreciate that the parents don't get like a redemption. They never like realize they should appreciate their kids. But they also like, you also don't get like this like tied in a bow, like, and they get in trouble and they have consequences. It's like, no, they just run off in this vehicle and it like they crash.
And then the scene when they're on the raft still kissing and there's a shark, you see the shark go whoop in the distance and you're like, oh, okay. I really love the illustrations where everything is very pointy and floppy simultaneously.
The animation style is one of my favorite things about this movie. And it's like the little things like the smoke clouds, the way that they textured like the yarn, like the mustaches, like all of those like really like small details. I was like, oh, this is so great. But I was gonna say, like, the moment that like made this movie like a favorite of mine is when the parents push the kids out of the way. And they're like, get out of our way. I was like, okay, yep, great movie.
I can't believe they just did that. But also I can.
I also like love it because it's like not even like, oh, like the dirigible can only hold so much weight or something. Like there's literally no reason for them to not take the kids with them.
I was gonna say too, I also loved like the texture that they put over the whole world. It's very cool.
Yeah, I love like sometimes like the smoke clouds or like exhaust on a bus or whatever. Like it's like little balls of wool or something.
Yeah, it looks like yarn almost.
It's very reminiscent of Trolls, how Trolls is animated.
Yeah.
I really love the I can't knit part.
Oh, and that she was harvesting his mustache.
The parents in general, like, it was, I loved it, and it was always like bordering a little bit on like, this is a kids movie. Like, at one point I was like, Michael, do these parents have just like really weird kinks or something? Like, I'm trying to figure this out. Because he's like barking like a dog and stuff.
They really pushed that boundary, but
well, the part 2 where the orphan shows up and the mother is like, why does this keep happening? And I'm like, you haven't had that talk yet, I see.
She only knew it wasn't one of hers because the hair wasn't yarn.
yeah.
Oh.
This one isn't even a Willoughby.
And just the fact that she was like getting him to grow it on the spot. Like, really?
Yes, ew. When it goes boink out, and I feel a bit ill.
I need a minute. We gotta pause this.
Oh my god.
I love that Tim names the baby Ruth. Because
Okay, this is the thing I want to talk about. Okay, so Jane goes to name the baby, and she wants to name the baby Taffeta, and mentions like, 3 syllables, like all our names. But her name is Jane.
Yeah. I was confused too, and she was like,
point.
good names are always 3 syllables like ours. And I was like,
wow, self-burn.
is Jane short for something?
Is she talking
It
about
is not.
Willoughby?
I like looked it up, but like, okay, and on the like
Because it's Jane and
adoption
Tim.
certificate, Timothy
Oh, yeah.
is on the adoption certificate. It's
Timothy.
so he is Timothy. She's
And
just
Barnaby.
Jane.
She's just Jane.
Bugs me.
That's a good point. I never noticed that, but yeah, that's
I'm like Googling it.
Kelly was like, inconsistency.
I like that Tim was like, we'll be the ruthless Willoughbys. So we'll make
I
her
do love that pun.
Oh man.
Aw,
The
this
Barnabys.
Tumblr post.
The Barnabys were one of my favorites. The fact
Yes,
they kept
everything,
switching
like-
the sweater.
Like how they talk and like just calling them the Barnabys.
Yes. Mushroom heads.
Barnaby
isn't
A
that
and
what-
Barnaby B.
I like how Jane was like, I can tell them apart now.
Janethy, says Joe Catherine.
Janethy.
I was thinking that. I was like, what if it's like Janethy?
Well, that's true. And in Griswold said they never explained where Ruth came from. Are all parents in this world terrible? They have a Department of Orphan Services.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, that is
whole-
true. It's like it started as this like ominous thing with the cat, and he's like, "What's in this box?" And it's this baby, and yeah, you never find out where it came from.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, I
Dropped
really-
it off.
Yeah, I really thought the orphan would be like the main plot of the movie, and then that was not at all the case.
You would think that.
She's just an absolutely feral baby. She's content to exist. Does not need a plot.
I love the baby so much.
Yes, I love that she kind of roars and howls when she's in
Yes.
the stacks
A
of the
beastly
library.
yowl.
Yeah.
I like when the baby is crawling around and you think that she's gonna pass by the room with the parents, and then she doubles back and goes in the room.
Yeah, the parents were repulsive, but they were still sort of one of my favorite things about the movie.
Yes.
They're so weird.
Mhm.
They're so weird.
Saw this person on Tumblr suggesting that the Barnabys each actually only have 1.5 syllables since they share a name.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Oh man.
I liked Commander Melanoff a lot. I wanted more.
Yeah.
Right, I would love like a spin-off movie about him.
Yes.
Sneak
Or
it
I
even
all
would,
a
with candy.
short. Anything.
Yes.
Yes.
I would love like another movie in this world, like even if it's not about like the Willoughbys, but just about like everything else that's going on in this world.
Mhm. I would love to see like what happens in this man's life that he like has a baby show up on his porch and he's like, "This is mine."
He's like, I'm
How did
bothered.
he get into the candy industry?
Yeah.
What's
Why does
he
he
get
wear
into
the
the candy
costume
industry?
all the time?
How does he make
Why-
all the candy by himself?
And most importantly, how does he survive when his head is a toothpick and the rest of his body is huge? It's the size of a mattress.
I want to see fan art of them falling in love. I want to see, what was his bachelor life like in a candy factory.
I got the impression he was older, though. Maybe it was just the mustache.
I thought they were like him and Nanny were like around the same age. Like,
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe just
Maybe
the
he
mustache
was, like,
gave me the.
I don't know, like
Like,
5
yeah.
years older.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely. I mean, maybe if there was fan art and he was less, like I said, like a toothpick head on a mattress body, I would be more into it. But
I mean, platonic roommates raising kids would be cool too.
yeah, that's
That
cute.
would be
That'd be
amazing.
pretty cool.
I would love that.
Okay, so just because we were talking about more stories in this world, there is a second Willoughbys book. It just came out in 2020.
Really?
Set 30 years after, with rising temperatures and melting icy mountaintops, previously frozen Willoughbys have thawed out and are about to return. So now the Willoughby siblings became heirs to the Melanoff Candy Company. Richie is Timothy's only child and is quite lonely. And then there's neighbors, but previously thawed Willoughbys could be entertaining.
Yes.
I guess in the book, the parents must like freeze on the mountain and just stay there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which
that
should
one
be
does. Super realistic.
I'm really curious about the narration style of the book. Because like the movie is narrated by a cat, and I'm not sure that a book would do that. It could, but
Even just the writing style I'm curious about, because like I've read Lois Lowry books as a kid. This was not the vibe I was expecting.
Do we know who the cat's voice is?
Simon
Oh,
Pegg.
Ricky
Ricky Gervais.
Why did I say Simon Pegg? It definitely is Ricky Gervais.
What did you say? The actual name?
Ricky
Ricky
Gervais.
Gervais.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't fully sure.
A star-studded cast.
Yeah.
So many big names in this cast.
Yeah, who was the commander or whatever? Because he was familiar.
Terry Crews.
Oh, yes. Okay, yeah.
Are you not one of the people that immediately goes to IMDb and says, should have said watch literally anything?
I am not. No.
I cannot complete the movie without knowing who's voicing every person.
And exactly where I've seen them in all things in the past.
The voice of Tim, he's a side character in so many sitcoms.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Now
He
I wanna
was
look up-
the Twilight lover in Parks and Rec. The guy who was obsessed with the Twilight.
Yeah. And yeah, I think their parents are Martin Short and Jake Krakowski, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mother and father.
And they call each other mother and father.
Of course they
They don't
do.
have
So
names.
weird.
I hated the animation of their lips when they were
Yes.
kissing.
Oh my
It was so
god.
creepy.
Like the part where they're like, their kiss is still warm. I was like, no, horrible. Change it for my brain. I hate it.
Unsee, please.
So apparently, the book, it's like the parents are trying to get rid of the children, and the children are trying to get rid of the parents.
Wow.
That's kind of what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Once they're like, actually, Nanny, just deal with them.
Yeah, but I think the parents are more actively trying to get rid of them in the book.
That's
It sounds like,
hilarious.
at least based on the description.
I'm excited to read the book, see how different it is.
Yeah, I want to read the book and then read the script. That way it's like boom, boom, boom.
And set my library doesn't have the audiobook.
No.
So like library probably has the book. Like it's
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
probably
curious
been
what.
sitting in the middle grade section for a while.
Just
Yeah.
want to listen to that. Go listen to the 3-hour audiobook.
I know I looked to see if like I don't know, it feels like it should have been narrated by someone fun, but I didn't recognize the name.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was curious about. If the narrator would be sort of a similar feel.
Be cool if Ricky Gervais could narrate.
Yeah,
the book.
I would definitely listen to that.
The book is on Kindle Unlimited.
Oh, nice. I have that.
The audiobook is $10.
My library has the audiobook, but there's 6 people with the hold already. Like, how
Really?
Like, even
I
the
got
book
mine
came out a
immediately.
couple of years ago.
Huh.
I know we kind of talked about it, but do you guys have any parts that you guys just like didn't like in the movie that you're like, oh, this is kind of boring, or
The song at
Yeah.
the end.
Just the song at the end.
Yes.
Watching the beautiful house get demolished.
Oh, that-
Oh,
That
yeah.
always,
That
like,
hurt.
that house was important to me. There were so many
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
I also think for like something that like for so much of it was like very like tongue in cheek and like kind of like parody of other like stuff about children and parents, and then it was like she sings this beautiful song and they all hug each other and keep each other warm. I was like, really?
Yeah.
And also the baby heard the song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think like for me, I was watching it and I'm like, it felt like the song was supposed to be very, very emotional and impactful and like was saving them or something somehow. Because Tim is like, oh wow. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, what? That she's singing in the middle of the wow, how is this helping?
The
so
twins
I
are
don't.
like, I hear something. And like this, you can see in front of you.
When I
Nobody's
watched it, I saw her singing. I was like, this is pulling me out a little bit, but I'll ride with it. And then I interpreted it as she sang the song so they forgave each other and then they were just going to go huddle and die together. like I didn't think the song was saving.
There's a theory that they all died on the mountain. So, like, after I watched this movie, I did a bunch of deep dives and like looking at stuff. So there's actually a theory that like they all died on the mountain after they sang the song, and like the end of the movie is just that was Jane's last what if, because like he says like
she says that.
he says like one last what if, so they all die, and the ending is just like what would have happened if they hadn't died.
That's
But you know,
dark.
it's for interpretation.
Yeah.
So grim. I don't know why they thought that the end couldn't possibly happen, like because it was too unrealistic, unlike flying there on a candy dirigible.
Right.
That's hilarious. I did love that they built this candy thing and then the nanny and the candy man just flying on a regular helicopter.
And then surf their way out on top of the whatever the commander.
Yeah, we don't need a helicopter. We're a family now.
We have the power of found family.
So we can surf our way on his back down this giant mountain. Yes.
And Linda didn't even need a song to get them there.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah.
I think the ending makes more sense if you had canon that they're all dead. But
I'm all in on the ridiculous. They're not dead. That world is just weird.
Like I said, if there had been no candy dirigible and they just got there by way of normal like vehicle, then I would have been like, oh yeah, all in on the they're all actually frozen and dead theory for sure.
It actually would have been a good ending to have the Department of Orphans like come and get them because they said
That's
they
what I
wouldn't
thought was
stop.
That's what I thought was going to happen, because I thought that the only people that would have the resources to come rescue them off that hill or that giant mountain was the Department of Orphans. And like, that's exactly like the parents crashed and died and they're like, whoa, confirmed orphans, right? So I thought they were going to swoop in. But
That
no.
would have been great.
that would have been great.
But no, candy dirigible and people sliding down the hill on some dude. I have a few problems with the ending, as you may be able to tell.
I love all parts of the movie.
Yes, no qualms.
I actually shouted a little bit when they were leaving because I'm like, "You're leaving the cat." He was still on the cliff top narrating.
But then he was there in the end of the family pictures. So.
He just walked down by himself, I guess.
Yeah.
And then back across to North America.
By himself, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He hitched a ride.
I mean, he did drive like half of the night, so he's a capable cat.
The part where they wake up and he's like apparently also stopped and got Starbucks along the way.
That was so funny.
So good.
I love the I love the Barnaby's mustaches at the end.
Yes.
And And that Jane is also getting a mustache now. And Linda has started styling her hair like a mustache.
I like when Linda is pretending to be Phil. Just taking the oats for a walk.
And her hair flips back up, and they're suddenly like, oh my god, it's Linda!
Or when the person looks in the cart and they're like, oh, look at this! Do you think oats just grow in fields?
It took hours to soak these. That would be my reaction if anyone threw out my overnight oats. Do you know how long I had to soak these? Overnight. What was the one part where the orphan association people were they on an elevator, or were they? I can't remember, but there was a part where they were like, sorry to each other or something like that. No, not ringing any bells. There was a bunch of them in the same spot, and they were crowded in a room or something. I just remember laughing really hard, and now I don't remember what they were actually saying to each other.
I cannot remember.
It's not helpful.
I'm sure it happened, though.
Yeah, it was one of the laugh out loud moments, but now I don't remember. Dang it.
Oh, I loved the part where they're trying to scare away people from buying a house.
Yeah.
Yes.
The perfect family comes.
Oh, the perfect family. Yeah.
Linda scared them away.
Like when they grab the doorknob and they're like, I feel a domestic tingle.
That was very good.
Pardon me. Just got attacked by the largest yawn.
I like when the Barbies are in the factory and they see TV for the first time.
Yeah.
They're like, how did they get these little people in the box?
Later in the car, Tim is like pinch zooming on a map, no problem. Just
Yeah.
And Griswold said, I laughed every time something awful happened to the people around the parents while they
Oh my gosh.
Like when the guide fell over the top of the volcano.
Yes. Yeah.
All of their tour guides.
All the tour guides just fighting the dust as they're going around. Yes.
One got attacked by a bear. One fell in a pool of acid. Piranha guy. The
they walk in
train full of people.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was an avalanche right in front of them on the train. Oh my god!
And the kids know this about their parents. Like they show up and see the avalanche, and they're like, "Our parents must have just gotten past this spot."
Yeah. Apparently, it's common for them.
apparently.
But pretend that was deliberate.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the like little details, like the fat ducks around.
Oh my gosh, they were so cute.
Very cute.
I also liked when they were on their way. Tim almost gets hit by a bus and he pees his pants. In the next scene, his shoes are squishing as he's walking.
I didn't notice that. Oh my gosh. Poor skinny bones.
Poor skinny bones.
I'm going to try to look up some pictures so I can remember some of my favorite parts. Oh, it came out in 2020. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. It's fairly new.
So did the sequel, and the original came out in 2008. So Lois Lowry was definitely like, "Oh, I can."
I guess
I sense an opportunity here.
Yeah. I'm sure her publisher was like, "Hey, you got any ideas?"
Yeah.
It'd be a great time for a sequel.
Exactly. I really like that the parents, when they lowered the pamphlet down, they were initially very scared of the pamphlet. And then when they came back, they just didn't question that it was there or how it had got there.
Well, this seems legit. We should take a video.
They're like, adventure, no children.
What did they call their travel agency? It was something like very ominous.
reprehensible
travel agency.
Yeah, because like the one that they saw was, I think, the reputable travel agency, and then there's the reprehensible.
Reprehensible.
Yeah. It's really good.
I'm sure, like with all of our book club movie picks that we all generally like, will probably end early. But I am so hyped for next week's chat. Next week is our trope madness chat.
Yay.
At the start of March, we are having a bracket showdown where we're going to pick the one true trope. It's going to be great. So hopefully you'll all join us for that.
The Hunger Games of tropeness.
Yes, and I just watched the movie Leap Year last week, which was like my first conscious introduction to tropes. And I've been having a lot of feelings about them in mentally preparing for next week.
What do you mean your first conscious?
Like it was, so you watch movies when you're a teen, but Leap Year was like the first rom-com that I watched in college where I was like, oh, there's only one bed. Oh, they have to pretend like they're married.
Gotcha. Yeah. Where you were aware they were tropes.
Yeah, and it was like galaxy brain moment for 18-year-old Megan. 19-year-old. Yeah.
Because our post chat going to be just like coming up with all the tropes.
Yeah, I'm going to need a list.
For anyone who is watching, all four, if you have any tropes you would like to see included, please let us know.
Yes, the more specific, the better. I already know I'm going to be going in hard for the only one bed trope, and I'm going to need some pretty convincing arguments to let go of that bias.
Des, did you have anything else we wanted to cover on the movie?
Yeah.
We pretty much covered everything that I had. It's kind of hard to have a long chat about a 90-minute movie.
Well, anything that would just
all love
our chat is a third of the length of the movies.
Yeah. It was really great. Highly recommend.
Did you watch it again?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm positive my 3-year-old will request it again.
Yeah. I might try to get my 4-year-old to watch it tonight and see what he thinks. That would be fun.
I think it's a great kids movie.
Yes, it was so good. Yes, and Griswold, all genres, any genre, trope.
Free for all.
We also have like sword on chin, tip head up.
Like the chosen one, like for like non-romance stuff,
Yeah.
Definitely like give us all the fantasy and sci-fi.
Yes, please. Because the romance ones will be really easy to come up with, but we'd like to have a well-rounded bracket.
Yeah, exactly.
And just hitting the random button on tvtropes.org is too obscure. There are so many tropes. Capital letters are magic.
What?
Oh,
that's a trope.
Oh.
Yes, like when you like capitalize something that's normally like just an ordinary word, but now it's a special word because there's a capital letter.
I do that to be dramatic.
All right, I'm just gonna hit the trope button. We should change the subject and talk about this next week.
Yeah, we have a lot of great live chats coming up. So we've got Trope Madness, and then the following week we're gonna do a full live chat, doing a deep dive into the trope that wins. We'll have a write-in, and then March, our book club is the Willoughbys, either the book or the script. We're going to talk about both, though not necessarily everyone will have read both. But you can find the script online if you're like, yo, I want to participate, but I don't want to read the book. You can read the script and still fully participate. And then in April, we're doing lots of write-ins for Camp Nano. Oh, I don't know if anyone has seen Rom-Com March, but people are writing rom-coms in March over on Twitter. So hit me up over on Twitter if any of y'all are participating because I'm going to.
I hate that I'm not done with school because I really want to write a rom-com so bad.
So much fun.
It's so fun. I'm like 5,000 words in.
Nice. Well, since we all love the movie, I guess we can go ahead and end here. I don't. Does anyone have any last minute things they wanted to say regarding the Willoughbys?
Mostly that I just want their house. That's
Yeah.
Yes, the house was
old-fashioned-
gorgeous.
Including the giant stuffed bear.
Yes. I love the realtor. She's like, I'm gonna sell your house.
Also, on the if you saw on like the for sale sign, like it said some stuff about it, and the card at the top said like antique coal bin.
Oh my god.
At the very beginning, you're like looking up at the city skyway, and the cat's all like, but you gotta look somewhere you wouldn't notice, and it pans down to the most beautiful yard of all time. And it's like, in what world is this not noticeable? It's just like wildflowers all the way to the front door of a gorgeous house.
And a cool, kind of creepy old house in the middle of like skyscrapers. Like people would know about that.
Oh yeah, that'd be like a tourist spot. Like people,
people would be taking pictures in front of it. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
That tells you a lot about that world, but no one cares about it.
But yet those houses are selling really well.
Yeah.
To be knocked
Paradox.
down.
Yeah, because they knock it down. What?
Yep.
I'm assuming Michael and I were talking about that because we were like, didn't they say that everyone wants to buy those houses and live in them? Like they're really popular. And I was like, I'm assuming it's because no one wanted to live in it because like the haunted stuff.
Oh yeah, probably.
Gotta
So
knock
it
it
just
down
got torn down
so.
instead because she couldn't sell it. Yeah.
It's a great movie.
I definitely recommend it to everybody who will listen to me. If you want another great kids movie that is cool animation and also on Netflix, I recommend The Mitchells versus the Machines. Super good movie. Super good. It's nominated for an Oscar, but I don't know if it'll be in Mexico. We'll see. And with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and call this chat here. Thank you so much for coming and talking about the Willoughbys with us. I enjoyed talking about the Willoughbys. I love this movie. I think it's super good. And we will see you guys next week for Trope Madness. Bye.
Bye.